Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We continue reading from Caitaniya Caritamita Adi Leela chapter 10 text 108. Jagannath Acharya Prabhura Priyadas Prabhura Ajnate Tenho Kaila Gangavas. Jagannath Acharya, the 50th branch of the Chaitanya tree, was an extremely dear servant of the Lord, by whose order he decided to live on the bank of the Ganges. Jagannath Acharya is stated in the Gaur Ganodesh Dipika 111 to have formerly been Durvasa of Nidhuvan. So Jagannath Acharya. Gaur-Ganodesh Dipika is said Durvasa of Nidhuvan. Is this the same Durvasa Muni? I'm not sure. I don't know. Durvasa of Nidhuvan is the same, the famous Durvasa Muni that we hear in Ambarish Maharaj Leela and all the other Leelas. So anyway, this is the Jagannath Acharya. Then Krishnadas Vaidya Ara Pandita Shekhara Kavichandra Ara Kirtaniya Sasthivara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The 51st branch of the Chaitanya tree was Krishna Das Vaidya. The 52nd was Pandit Shekhar. The 53rd was Kavichandra. And the 54th was Sasthivar, who was a great Sankirtan performer. In the Gaur-Ganodesh Dipika 171, it is said that Kavichandra was Manohara Gopi, and that Srinath Mishra, mentioned in the next verse, was Chitrangi. So Kavichandra, the 53rd branch of the tree of Lord Chaitanya, is a gopi called Manohar Gopi. And in the next verse, we are going to hear about Srinath Mishra, and he was Chitrangi. All these identities are mentioned in the Gaur Ganodesh Dipika, which has been written by Kavi Karnapur. Srinath Mishra, Shubhananda, Shri Ram, Ishana, Srinidhi, Shri Gopikanta, Mishra, Bhagavan. The 55th branch was Srinath Mishra. The 56th was Shubhananda. The 57th was Shri Ram. The 58th was Ishana. The 59th was Srinidhi. The 60th was Shri Gopikanta. And the 61st was Mishra Bhagavan. Shubhananda, who formerly lived in Vrindavan as Malti, was one of the Kirtan performers who danced in front of the Ratha Yatra car during the Jagannath festival. So Shubhananda, the 56th branch, in his identity is that he was a personality called Malti in Braj. And as Shubhananda, what did he do? He danced in the Rath Yatra in the Rath Yatra in front of the cart. It is said that he ate the foam that came out of the mouth of the Lord while he danced before the Rath Yatra car. So the Lord was in ecstasy, and that's the reason he is foaming. And then Shubhananda was able to have that. It sounds very amazing to us, all these things, but we have to understand that these are spiritual activities, and these personalities, their consciousness is completely on the spiritual level, not on the material level like us. Ishana was the personal servant of Srimati Sachidevi, who showered great mercy upon him. He was also very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ishana was the servant of Sachi Mata. Even after Lord Chaitanya left home, Ishana was there taking care of Sachi Devi. Subudhi Mishra, Hridayananda, Kamalanayana, Mahesh Pandit, Shrikara, Sri Madhusudana. The 62nd branch of the tree was Subudhi Mishra. The 63rd was Hridayananda. The 64th was Kamalanayan. The 65th was Mahesh Pandit. The 66th was Shrikar. And the 67th was Sri Madhusudan. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya, Subodhi Mishra, who was formerly Gunachada in Vrindavan, installed Gaur Nityananda deities in a temple in the village known as Belagan, which is about 3 miles away from Srikhanda. His present descendant is known as Govinda Chandra Goswami. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he writes in his commentary that Subhadhi Mishra, this Subhadhi Mishra in Krishna Leela was living in Vrindavan, who was formerly Gunachada. He was Gunachada in Vrindavan. He installed Gaur Nityananda deities in Belgan, in a village in Belgan. The present descendant is known as Govinda Chandra Goswami. Purushottam Sri Galima Jagannath Dasa, Sri Chandra Shekhar Vaidya Dvija Haridasa. The 68th branch of the original tree was Purushottam. The 69th was Sri Galima. The 70th was Jagannath Das. The 71st was Sri Chandra Shekhar Vaidya. And the 72nd was Dvija Haridas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya, there is some question about whether Dvij Haridas was the author of Ashottara Shatanama. He had two sons named Sridham and Gokulananda, who were disciples of Sri Advaita Acharya. So Dvija Haridas has two sons, Sridham and Gokulananda. And this Sridham and Gokulananda, they accepted Advaita Acharya as their disciple. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying that whether really he was the author of Ashottara Shatanama, there is a question about that. Their village Kanchana Gadia is situated within 5 miles of the Bajaraso station, the 5th station from Azimganj in the district of Murshidabad in West Bengal. So that's where the village is. Ramdas Kavichandra Sri Gopala Dasa Bhagavat Acharya Thakur Saranga Dasa. The 73rd branch of the original tree was Ramdas. The 74th was Kavichandra. The 75th was Sri Gopal Das. The 76th was Bhagavat Acharya. And the 77th was Thakur Saranga Das. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya, in the Gaur Ganadesh Dipika 203, it is said, Bhagavad Acharya compiled a book entitled Krishna Prema Tarangini, and he was the most beloved devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Bhagavad Acharya compiled a book called Krishna Prema Tarangini. He's a beloved devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Varahanagar, now a suburb of Calcutta, he stayed in the house of a most fortunate Brahmana who was very learned scholar in Bhagavad literature. As soon as this Brahmana saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he began to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So this Brahmana, he is very fortunate and very learned, and Lord Chaitanya stayed there. That's why he's so fortunate. And he saw Mahaprabhu and he started reading Bhagavatam. When Mahaprabhu heard his explanation, which expounded Bhakti Yoga, He immediately became unconscious in ecstasy. So this Brahmana is speaking the Bhagavatam with so much devotion that Lord Chaitanya has become unconscious hearing the Bhagavatam. And why has he become unconscious? In ecstasy. It's an ecstatic symptom in love of God. Lord Chaitanya later said, I have never heard such a nice explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam. I therefore designate you Bhagavat Acharya. So this Bhagavat Acharya, because he could explain the Bhagavatam in such a beautiful way. Your only duty is to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. That is my injunction. His real name was Raghunath. His monastery, which is situated in Varahanagar, about 3.5 miles north of Calcutta, on the bank of the Ganges, still exists. So this Bhagavad Acharya, his name was Raghunath, and his monastery is still there in Varahanagar, which is near Calcutta, on the banks of the Ganges, and it is managed by the initiated disciples of the late Sri Ramdas Babaji. Presently, however, it is not as well managed as in the presence of Babaji Maharaj. So Bhagavad Acharya was named as the Acharya he of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya gave him that because he has so much devotion he can sing. He's speaking it in such a wonderful, wonderful way. So we'll stop here for today and we'll continue reading tomorrow. Are there any comments or anything to add or question?
No, all good.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for listening and joining in. Caitanya Caritamita ki jai, Shla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.